Okay, we're live. I'm not going to play the intro. We had a little bit of a screw up. Sarah couldn't hear me, and I get upset when people can't hear me. So we fixed and everything. But Sarah has a special event this Sunday. Iron Man Augusta.
Yes,
You bought your floaties and everything just in case.
ready to go. So this one has been a couple of years in the making. I had originally signed up in 2019 for Ironman Augusta. Actually, I had signed up in 2018 and then had a cycling accident about 2 weeks beforehand that knocked me out, literally and figuratively. I wound up with a concussion, so I could not race. Deferred to 2020, but then of course 2020 happened. And so now a lot of the racers from 2020 have rolled into 2021. So I think we're going to have about 3,000 racing at the event. The way it's set up, you have a swim exit, and the transition area is very close to where you get out of the river after the swim. So, what you do on race morning is you go and set up all your stuff, your bike and your gear at that swim exit, and then they shuttle you up, or you walk about a mile up to the swim start, and basically you swim down to your bike to that transition area. So this one is a 1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike ride, and then you run a half marathon if that is not enough. Very strict time cutoffs. That's somewhat nerve wracking for us slower racers, but it promises to be a very good event. The weather looks nice for Sunday. It's notoriously very hot for this race, but it does look to be just mid 80s. This could take about 7 hours of activity. So I'll be finishing mid afternoon, mid to late afternoon, depending on what time I start. They are doing a self seated start this year. And a lot of triathlons, the bigger ones, you're going to start based on your age group, but they've kind of changed it up recently, and you seat yourself based on projected finish time. And so I'll seat myself about 2/3 of the way back for the swim, and then just hope for the best at that point.
Now I got a question for you, and I do this because of the gastric bypass. But when you get on the bike, all right, what is your hydration? Please don't tell me it's not just water.
Gatorade. So I use
Gatorade?
G2, yeah, low calorie Gatorade G2, and I have two large insulated bottles. They do have stops at mile 15, 30, and 45 of the bike course. I have trained up to 47 miles on the bike, and I've been fine with just my two large bottles of water. So I just kind of pace it towards the beginning and then take a sip about every mile. But if need be, I can fill up at mile 45.
Okay, now you can drink a lot. I can't drink a lot, otherwise it. This is what. Now you're going to think this is crazy. This is what I've done. There's little squirt bottles. They're like this big.
Mm-hmm.
I put maple syrup in it, and it's like high octane, and I squeeze it
Mm-hmm.
into my mouth. It goes down. It uh, metabolizes very fast because it's a liquid and has plenty of sugar in it. Doesn't have like what do you call it? Fructose,
Mm-hmm.
and it tastes good too, and it's really strong. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if you've swigged maple syrup out of the bottle, but I've done that to get an extra boost because I can't drink as much as you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing is, what I do is I will hydrate before the biking part.
Mm-hmm.
So even before you're swimming, I if I was doing that, I would hydrate and get it in my system before I would take off. So you're probably different, but I got to get it in there because when I'm biking, I just can't gulp it like all these guys, gulping like crazy, and it'll run up my esophagus and do a nosedive out the front of the
Yeah.
bike. So anyway, so are you excited about this?
Excited and nervous. Just so many people. The swim is nerve wracking with that many people. And then the bike, I think they're going to have it. They said we would have a tailwind of about 6 miles per hour going out, but a headwind coming back. So
Oh
that will
wow.
be a challenge, yeah. And it's
Me,
rolling hills, but for Florida, they're pretty steep hills by Florida standards.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you don't get those flatties down in Florida. But
No.
Claremont has a couple good hills down there.
Yep,
Yeah,
they do.
yeah, just to remind people, I was down there for the summer's event. I could not find you. I didn't take it personally that you were trying not to meet up with me.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't take it personally. I'm very thick-skinned, but I could not find you. There was 800 people down there. It was
Yeah.
tough to figure out. Next time I'll have one of those balloons with the helium in it. So and just attach it to me, and when I walk around, you'll be able to see the balloon.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's good. Now, your last race, I forget what that was. The one, was it in Tennessee?
In Tennessee. So I did the Great Smoky Mountains half marathon, and it was called the Black Bear Double. I did a 5K the night before. The 5K, they had about, I would say, I want to say at least 3,000 runners for that one. It was in Townsend, Tennessee, a relatively small town about 30 miles from Gatlinburg. And they started us on the 5K just on a bike trail. That was a mistake. There were way too many people, very, very crowded course for the 5K. It was a little bit better for the half marathon. We spread out very quickly. And that one was a point to point race. So we shuttled down to a high school that was about 13 miles down and then ran back to the place where we caught the shuttle. I prefer out and back races so that you don't have to take the shuttle, but that one was a point to
Yeah.
point.
How do they get so many people? Is this like 10th year, 11th?
Yeah, they have done it for quite a while. It's called Vacation Races. And they just did Mount Rushmore this past weekend. I've done Zion National Park with them. They have one in the Everglades. There's a Mount Rainier, just beautiful destinations. And I think it's just the location, the destination that attracts so many runners. My goal is to do all of their races, but they have really, really beautiful courses.
Wow. I guess that's the trick to get them
Yep,
in a nice area.
the destination, yeah.
I've been up there, and it's close to Cape Coves.
Yes, yes.
Coves. Yeah.
And that was actually closed. I'm not sure why, but it was closed while we were up there. So we went to a cave that was close by after the race, and I think I got about 40,000 steps that day, including the half
Wow.
marathon, just so much walking and climbing.
What is your take about some of these races that are canceling? Is it the size? Is it the place where they're having it? The government association doesn't want them there? Or what do you
It's
think?
very odd because Rock and Roll Savannah has been very actively promoting their race, which I believe is in November. And yet, just this past week, Savannah Public's half marathon canceled. So I'm not sure why they're continuing to promote the Rock and Roll Savannah when these other Savannah races are canceled. This is in Augusta, Georgia. This one is running without hitch. There's one in Jekyll Island in October, and that one is running. So I'm not sure what it is about Savannah, but that race is canceled. We had a triathlon down near Tampa that canceled, St. Anthony's Triathlon, and that one was a little bit later in the fall. They canceled that one pretty early. So it's a little bit surprising to see the cancellations. Boston just canceled yesterday a race up there. It makes me question, is the Boston Marathon going to happen? If they canceled the half marathon, are we going to have
Is it is it the race director of the association, the event manager that cancels it, or do you think it's the venue, the city, the location that cancels it?
I
Which,
think
or
it's
is it?
probably the city. I think it would have to be an issue probably with the city permit, but
Mhm.
it's a very inconsistent application of the policies because why is Augusta being permitted to run with 3,000 racers and then Savannah, which I would assume would be far smaller, is canceling? But I'll hear about one or two cancellations a week, just different parts of the country. And I had planned to sign up for the Rock and Roll Savannah in November, but with the cancellation of this one, I don't think I am because I fear it's going to be canceled as well. They're also changing dates, which is very challenging for racers. I saw that a race in, I believe it was Mississippi today, it was moved back like 3 weeks. And when you've already made travel plans, already booked your hotels, that's just as bad as canceling it for a lot of people to change the
Wow.
date.
Do they, excuse me, do they do at Augusta any filming, live filming that you know of? Like, where people can see it, like on a Facebook Live or
I think they
some
do.
other?
I think they do a live stream of the finish line. I haven't raced this one before, but when I was downloading my tracker, my race athlete tracker, I saw mention of a Facebook live stream. So I think they're going to have a camera set up at the finish line to just catch people as they go. But I don't think they have anything on the course, to my knowledge.
That's right. On the course is going to be the neat thing to do. Okay.
Yes, so you
I'm
can't see
telling
your
you.
friends when they're out on the course.
That's right. So we set that stuff up. Hopefully we can get this to work. So we'll see. But I was down at the Weeki Wachee Preserve, and it was so wet down. Well, in the one area it was so wet. It's a good thing I had the truck and 4-wheel drive. But the rest of the course looks pretty good. I got it mapped out pretty good. So about the end of October, it gets not that well. It's not that much rain October, November. So we should be doing pretty good. So after this Augusta one, what do you have coming up?
I have the BDR down in Safety Harbor, and that is about mid-October. I'm doing the 3-race challenge, so I'll be running a 5K, 10K back-to-back on the Saturday and the half marathon on Sunday. Haven't received word of any possible cancellations for that one. They're still planning to run their race in New Orleans, the BDR series.
Mm-hmm.
But to my knowledge, they did not run Jacksonville or Orlando this year. So Safety Harbor had canceled in 2020. I rolled into 2021. Actually, it was scheduled for February of 2021, and they pushed this one back to October. And so I'll be doing that one. And then I've got Weeki Wachee coming up in November. And that's really all that I have for this fall.
You are going to be at the Weeki Wachee, right?
Weeki Wachee, yes.
I don't have to send the marshals out for you?
I will be at Weeki Wachee.
I don't care if you come in a hazmat suit or something. Just you better be there, okay?
I will be there.
Oh, we're going to have, from now on, I hooked up with a person, Yvonne's balloons, and I forget the rest of it. We're going to have tables and chairs there under the tents so people can sit down. I am going to have that live streaming. Whether I have it on the course or not depends on who I have to volunteer and so forth. But we're going to have the tables and chairs, and then at all the other ones, we'll have at the Spring Hill, we'll have tables and chairs, fresh food, all that stuff, so they can sit down there. And I will have the live stream in there, and we'll tell everybody what Facebook site it will be on and everything. Now, your bicycle and everything, do you get it worked on before, or you just?
I got a brand new bike. So I have been riding for the longest time. I rode my tri-bike, which I got some years back, probably 5 years back, a Trek tri-bike. But then once I crashed that one just before Augusta in 2018, I never really trusted myself on it. So I was just riding an old road bike that I bought used from our local bike center for about $300. But then last week, I finally got a very nice tri road bike. And so that's what I'll be racing on this time.
What kind is it?
It's a Trek.
I mean, what Trek? You like Trek?
Yeah, I like Trek. I'm trying to figure out the name, the model of it. It is the newest Trek. So it just came out. I'm trying to put a picture here and see if it says on it.
Do they have different names for the tri-bikes versus the regular bikes?
Yeah, this is a road bike, but it rides like a tri-bike. Yeah, I don't see a model number on it. But I did have aero bars added to it because I like riding in the aero position when I go length. But I'll be
how long's the bike ride?
56 miles.
Oh, you gonna handle this all right?
Let you know on Tuesday.
Maybe I should go down there, but
yeah.
But I think there's a few hills down there, if I remember, right?
And I did a tri-camp there back in, I guess it was 2019, and rode the course. It does go on highway, but they've closed off the traffic, at least one lane of the highway. It used to go over railroad tracks, and people really complained about that because their bottles flew out of their cages.
Right.
I think they've changed it so it doesn't go over the tracks now, which is very good.
On that Tennessee one in the Smokies, what did you like, and were there anything that you wish they didn't do?
The grade of the road. So we ran with these national park races that they do. You don't actually run through the park. You run kind of around the park. So you get to see the park, but you can't run through it. So we were on a side road that paralleled streams. It was just gorgeous, but the road graded. And so it turned to the side, and that's really tough on the knees. It was not a closed course. Very little traffic out there, but when a car came onto the course, there was nowhere for the car to go. And so basically the runners were stuck behind the car. And that's the issue with Claremont as well. I'm not sure I'll race Claremont next year. The traffic is just so bad. And when you have a car that's trying to pass the cyclist or was reluctant to pass the cyclist, you get backed up behind that car. You can't go around them. So it's very, very frustrating. They had adequate hydration on the course about every mile and a half. Vacation races, what they do that's a little bit different is they have no disposable cups. And I should have brought it with me. I'll bring it next time. But they give you a little plastic container that you can fill up with hydration at the stops. But I wore a Camel pack because I didn't want to take time to fill up the hydration. And I'll do the same thing at Augusta. I'll wear something on my back instead of trying to fill it up as I go.
Well, and plus the small bottles, I still like those,
Yes.
the 8-ounce bottles. But with was there 3,000 people at the Tennessee one?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people.
Doesn't it get crowded filling up the bottle?
Yeah, it does. And that's an issue. But most people either had handheld water bottles or the Camel packs own. And like I said, I'll bring it next week and show you. But the little plastic things they give you that you can fill up and clip on your spy belt, those are difficult to fill. And in my opinion, it's difficult to drink out of. Since I had done 2 races with them beforehand, I knew exactly what to expect. And they really market themselves. They're very interested in promoting environmental sustainability. And so they message beforehand and say, we don't have any cups on the course. Bring your own hydration or use what we have. So it did back up, especially towards the beginning. Now, once we spread out a bit, it wasn't too bad. But at the beginning, there was a lot of clogging because of filling up.
Yeah, I would think so. With the little bottles, you just grab it and go. Fits in your hand,
Very
and there's
easy.
the 16-ounce bottles, they're difficult, but the 8-ounce are pretty good. So.
And then 16-ounce, you can't drink that. People like to drink it and then throw it away immediately. So by the time you hit that 3rd trash can, people want to discard it. They don't want to carry it with them. So there's no point in having a big water bottle. You can't drink enough of that. So the small ones give you plenty of water. And then if you want to throw some on your head at the end, you can do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope it goes well this Sunday for you. And I think there's a lot of people on Facebook that are going. You probably have a lot of friends that are going to it, right?
Mm-hmm. I think for my triathlon club, we have maybe 3 others that are racing on Sunday. We had quite a few, 3 others that raced in Utah this past weekend. The National Triathlon Championships, the World Triathlon Championships, were in St. George, Utah. And so we had 3 members of the club travel out there. And it was kind of interesting because they were swimming early in the morning and a horrible storm blew in. And they had to pull a lot of the women from the water that were in that wave because of the weather. And they weren't allowed to finish the race. They didn't give them a DQ, so they didn't disqualify them, but they were given a DNF. It did not finish. And they weren't allowed to go on the bike because of the storm. And one of the members of our tri club that videoed the event, she showed the storm coming in. It was a terrible storm. And they were coming down some very tough ravines, very steep drops there, soaking wet on the bikes. It turned into a pretty dangerous experience. Beautiful course, but dangerous conditions this time.
Now, at the Wiki Watch, are you running the half or the 10K?
Probably the 10K for that one. I think I'm going to do the half for Spring Hill because the medal is really good.
Oh, no, wait, you're worried about the half marathon for Weeki Wachee. I know that. I might transfer you to the half marathon. And I mean, it's a nice, you're way out there. It's real nice.
Oh, you're way out there, all right. You're way out there. I'll agree with that. You're way out there.
I was in the truck and Mike and I went, let's see what there this one goes. Well, there was water coming up over the windshield. It was like,
Wow.
I said, I don't think they could run through this one, but it was really wet out there. But
Yeah.
by the end of October, it dries up pretty good. There's maybe one or two, wet spots like in the where the drive is and so forth. But maybe I'll put you in there just for the heck of it.
See what happens. I'll run 13.1 miles somewhere, and then I'll come across that finish line. Might not be the designated.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about last year. This year, though, if you screw up on this one, you need a seeing eye dog or something, because Mike and I went through that, and we know exactly how to mark it and so forth. So no mistakes this year. So,
Okay.
But anyway, I wish you luck on Sunday. We're going to close this out, and then we'll do another one next week, and we'll talk about your Augusta thing. Okay.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. I'll see you later.
Okay, bye.